Guys, how is everyone doing tonight? I'm so excited to be here. I might be a couple minutes late. I had some technical difficulties getting on live here, but it wouldn't be a live chat without that kind of thing. So I'm gonna wait just a minute or so to kind of get into the meat of what I wanted to chat about tonight. But can you guys do me a quick favor when you pop on? Will you just drop me a hi? Let me know you're watching. Katie, I see you there, girl. You hold such a special place in my heart. Katie and I were part of a really cool experience together a couple months ago, and I'm going to talk about that later on today. Hey, Cher, how's it going? I'm so excited. All right, so let me kind of get into it here. For most of you, you have no idea who I am. My name is Steph Beaulieu. I am a newer member of the Dream Team. I've been part of this organization for a year now. It has been the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And today I kind of want to talk a little bit about creating growth and consistency through times of chaos. So for those of you just jumping on, if you can drop me a hi, let me know that you're watching. That would be super great. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and how this all started for me, because it really ties into the whole chaos topic here. So my adult life started very much like many of ours. I fell in love, got married, things were amazing. We were trying to have our first baby and it just wasn't happening. So lo and behold, we went and got some help and had an amazing experience. We ended up having to go through IVF. We were told that we would not be able to have kids on our own, which as any mid-20s girl, I guess I was older than that. Anyways, any girl doesn't want to hear. It was sort of a little bit of a blow, but we went through the motions. We did what we had to do. We had the most perfect, amazing son, and things were really, really great. So this was back in 2014. When our son was 8 months old, I started feeling a little bit off. Started feeling a little bit different. At that time, it was like old school Insanity DVDs. I didn't even know what Beachbody was. I bought these like off of some dude who found them off the back of a truck. Like it was the sketchiest thing. I was doing Insanity. I was doing really, really great, but the weight just wasn't coming off and I was feeling a little bit off. So it turns out we had the most unexpected surprise, and that was that we were pregnant with twins. And so if you do the math, our son was 8 months and we were pregnant with twins, which meant that when they were born, we had 3 kids under a year and a half, which was total chaos. And it is, it's hard for me to even put into words the amount of chaos that I felt like I was living through in that season of life. And I carried a lot of shame and a lot of guilt around that, because when our babies were born, I had the most perfect twin pregnancy. I carried them right to the very end. It was like textbook perfect. They were healthy. I was healthy, and they were born, and I just sunk into this slump, and I sunk deep. And I carried a lot of guilt and a lot of shame about that, because I had these perfect babies and I was so miserable. All I wanted was to get away from my family and my life. And it was with my husband that we kind of chatted it out, and we realized that our lives had so drastically changed in that short period that I didn't even recognize myself anymore. I didn't even recognize the life I was living. I didn't recognize anything, and nothing felt normal. So it was really with his push that we decided that I needed 30 minutes to myself every day to just come into the basement, and regardless of what was happening upstairs, whether all 3 of them were screaming, I would always take that 30 minutes to myself. And that ended up being the best decision of my life, because it was then that I found Beachbody. It was then that I started working on my own personal health and wellness. And it really, truly, I can't even emphasize this enough, like saved my life in that season of chaos. So fast forward about 6 months. So our twins were 6 months old. I had incredible results. I did T25, I did Insanity Max 30, I did every single program I can get my hands on. And I had incredible results. I lost 80 pounds in the first 8 months that they were born. And of course, as you could imagine, when you see a brand new twin mom who is dropping weight like that and is feeling better and is feeling alive and is kind of handling it all like a boss, as many people thought or felt. Everybody wanted to know the secret. Everybody wanted to know how I did it. Everybody wanted to know what the secret sauce was. Everyone wanted to know kind of how I was able to do that with newborn twins and a son that wasn't even 2 yet. So the coaching opportunity for me came very organically. I mean, I was referring all of my friends to my coach, who wasn't even really a coach. She was a discount coach, and she was reaping these huge benefits from it. And so I got to the point where I was like, well, this is a little bit silly. I should try and just see if this is a thing. Maybe this is something I can really do. And from there, kind of my coaching journey began. But looking back on the past, my twins are 4.5 now. So looking back on the past, 4 years, I'm really realizing that my moments of growth and my moments of, expanding myself and expanding my business has really happened through chaotic times. And it is not an understatement to say that we are living in a chaotic time right now. Many of us feel the way I did when I had those newborn twins. Like, what is life right now? What is life quarantine wise? And what is COVID, and what does my life even look like right now? Because I don't recognize any of it. Can you feel me? Because that is what I'm feeling. I feel like I am in that season version 2.0. And so I really kind of dove into a couple of opportunities that were presented to me, and it ended up giving me great success. So I wish that I had some tips and some clear-cut how-tos and, strict things to tell you to do to grow your business the way I have in the past couple months. But I really don't, but I do have kind of some words of wisdom as to how I was able to get there and how I was able to advance my business. I'm now Diamond. I have quite a few working coaches. I'm picking up momentum every month, and I've kind of broken it down to a few key things here. So I got my SC points up big time, and it wasn't until about 3 months ago that I really realized how much I was missing out on by not leveraging the opportunities that I had, like the launch of 10 rounds and like the launch of new programs before that. So in April 6th, when 10 rounds launched, I decided that I was going to go all in on my business. We were 2 weeks into quarantine then. And I just reached out to every single person who had ever joined me in the past 4 years. And I was like, this is what I'm doing. Do you want to come on board? And everybody who was interested got a completion pack or got a challenge pack. And so my SC points were all of a sudden through the roof compared to where they were, because I was maximizing this opportunity. And it's allowed me to kind of make a game plan for the next few months in the same way as well. So we really utilized 10 rounds in April, and then it kind of carried over to May because we had so many new people wanting to try it. June, I'm doing a whole 2B mindset focused group. So I have so many people who have bought 2B mindset challenge packs and completion packs, and that's getting me SC points. And I'm planting all the seeds for Muscle Burns Fat when it comes out in July, because we're going to do the same thing then. We're going to increase everybody to completion packs, challenge packs, and we are going to get SC points through the roof. So that's a super quick tip and something that I've been able to kind of put into place over the past few months. And that is really getting everybody on board with the new things and kickstarting their journeys every single month. And so that's been a big thing SC point wise. And in terms of business, though, I feel like for a few years, hey, Maria's my success partner. So I feel like for a few years, I really sat back and I sort of waited for people who were in my downline to sort of step up and do it with me. And every day that went by that they didn't do that, I kind of found that I was sitting back and I was getting comfortable in the position we were in. And actually, Farron said this on the call earlier this week, and it sort of sparked true to me. And it's like, when you are growing a business, and you want it to be big and you have the vision, you have to be comfortable leading from the front all alone. And that was kind of what I did. I was so scared to do it by myself before that I just let that paralyze me. And so the switch that flipped was I decided I was going to show up every single day, no matter what, from 8 o'clock at night to 9 o'clock at night in this spot right here, every single night, no matter what. And if people wanted to join me, they could join me. And if they didn't, they didn't. But putting it out there consistently with my team that this was the time that I was available, this was the time that I was doing my power hour, this was the time that they could come learn from me every single night was a huge turning point for us. And not even so much for my team, because they did end up coming. They did end up coming every night, and I sort of handheld them a little bit, and we walked through exactly how to do this and exactly how to do that. And action wise, it was really great for them. But what was also really great was having this concrete time from 8 to 9 every single night was even more beneficial for my family. Because I feel like for a long time, and I love hearing Melanie talk about her and Matt's journey at the beginning of her business, because he wasn't on board from the get-go. And I can tell you that my husband was not either. And so involving him in this process and having him know that no matter what, from 8 to 9, I'm in front of my computer downstairs, made it a lot easier for us to understand each other once I finally did go back upstairs. And this kind of goes back to the twin thing too, because when I came downstairs for my half an hour, he knew that he just had to handle crap up there, all right? No matter what was happening, I had that half an hour to myself to work on my fitness. And the same thing holds true now. Every single night, I have this hour to work on my business. And what that means is that he knows, and they know, my kids, that every single night at 9 o'clock, the phone gets shut, my notebook gets shut, and I'm up there and I'm with them. So another tip that I have for you guys is keep your families in the loop. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know when you're going to do it, and freaking be consistent with it. Don't just say you're going to work tonight. Say you're going to work tonight from this time to this time and do it from that time to that time. Because if you say you're going to work between 8 and 9, and then some nights you do and some nights you don't, it's kind of hard for everybody around you to sort of follow suit. So that's another tip for you. Set a concrete time that you're going to work. Tell your family what that is, and they will respect your business a lot more for it. They will respect you a lot more for it, and they will feel like they're more respected as well, because again, they know at 9 o'clock I'm up there and I'm theirs. Okay. That was another tip. And then involving them with the outcome as well was a really big turning point for me. It made my home life so much easier. I really sat down and explained to my family what the heck Success Club is and what the heck it means to hit Success Club and why I need to hit Success Club. And not just because I got a free t-shirt this month, but I want to hit Success Club this month because this money is going to go towards this. I want to hit Success Club this month because once I save this month's amount of money, I'm going to be able to buy us a sauna, which is actually what's happening this month, and it's super exciting. Do we need a sauna? No, but it's something that we can enjoy together as a family, my husband and I, once the kids go to bed. And that's something that, he's worked really hard taking care of everything up there so that I can work down here. And so that money is going to go towards something we can do together. And so involving him in that decision has been a really big, a big help as well. And it's to the point now where it's kind of competitive, right? Like he'll come home and he'll be like, so what SC are you at today? And if I tell him 12, he'll be like, well, you were supposed to be at 20, and I'm someone who's very challenge motivated. So it's kind of turned into a whole family affair, which is kind of neat too. So tell your families when you're working, tell your families what you're working for, and show up for them when it's their turn to have you. That's another big tip. And then I find that the reason things have changed so much for me in my business over the years is that I have run into fear of several different things, and I'm going to go through a couple examples for you, but fear of not wanting to do something and letting it hold you back. And for me, I remember it was April 1st and I hit submit on my coach application and I was like, this is it. This is going to be the thing that does it for me. I am forever going to wake up in the morning. I said this to myself. I can't even believe it. I'm going to wake up in the morning every single day and I'm going to do my hair and I'm going to put my makeup on. And this is going to be the thing that I needed to put myself together every day. And I really, truly felt that day that I hit, submit. And I'm so embarrassed by that now because that is like the farthest thing from me. That's the farthest thing from something that's of value to me. And I'm realizing now with a lot of self-reflection and personal growth that I got this a lot from my parents. My mom is like that mom that doesn't leave her room in the morning until her hair and her makeup are freshly done. And she'll come home midday and she'll come up and wash her makeup off and then put it back on again. So for me, that's kind of what I thought I was supposed to be like. And so when I made that promise to myself that that's what I was going to be and I was going to use this business as an excuse to do that, it put a lot of pressure on me. And fear comes into play because that day where I just had to get a post out and I looked like a hot mess and I was driving the Hot Mess Express and picking up passengers as I went, I put that picture out of me with no makeup and probably split up on my shirt and my hair in a messy bun. And I just like ripped the Band-Aid off and did it and shared it. It was like the most liberating thing I can ever remember. And from that day, there was never any looking back. There was never any looking back because I faced that fear of what are people going to think about me if I show up and I look like a hot mess. And the fear theme continues on with my weight. Like I lost a ton of weight, as I mentioned before, but that weight did not stay off for me. I went through the motions when I first started my journey and I dropped a ton of weight, but I did none of the work up here. So what happened was the weight came back on. And if you look back over my social media, it started off with full body pictures. And then it came to just face pictures. And I didn't even notice that transition. But as my weight crept up, I started feeling fear of showing my authentic self and showing people what I looked like. And I also, it was not that long ago that I started posting full body pictures. And like as a plus size health and wellness coach, that's a really tough thing to do. And those of you out there who are not a size 0 can totally attest to that. But I can also tell you that my weight was at the highest it's ever been when my business went the highest it's ever been, because I faced that fear. I put myself out there and I let people see me. And once you do that thing that you're afraid of, you feel so free and you don't look back. And all of a sudden it's like, well, they've seen it now, so I guess I might as well just keep going, right? And so facing that fear, ripping the Band-Aid off and just freaking doing the thing is so liberating. And honestly, it was a huge, huge, huge turning point twice in my business. The third time was adding connections. I feel like there's such a stigma about not wanting to add connections. That's my most favorite part of this job, is like shooting the crap with people that I don't know about stuff that I really care about, right? Like being a professional friend maker is like my favorite thing to do. But I used to hate doing that. I used to feel so phony. I used to lead with the invite in mind. I used to, my God, the things I wish I could tell myself from back then. But I learned to face the fear of adding connections, adding conversations with people that I did not know. And then once you start doing that, the more you practice, the less scary it feels. And so now, like I said, like that's my most favorite part of the day, when I get to that time where I get to just sit and connect with people about things that are not business related, and I get to be authentic and real, and make friends, because that down the line makes the invite process so much easier. So that's another time that I used to be so afraid, and then I ripped off the Band-Aid, started adding connections and talking to people like it was going out of style, and it made a huge, huge difference for my business. And then this has probably been the biggest one, where I have faced some fear and been able to come out of it with some growth on the other side. And that is kind of the invite to the coaching opportunity. And I know everybody's skin just started crawling and we all just kind of got the heebie-jeebies, but hear me out. A couple of months ago, I will forever be grateful for this group, but I was part of an Elite 10 Olympics that Melanie co-hosted with some of the other Elite 10 coaches, and it changed everything for me. It changed everything for me. I was put into a group with 5 other people that I had no idea who they were, and we were told, you can get points for doing X, Y, and Z. Go. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm like very challenge driven. I love when someone says, okay, go do something. Action items are like my jam, as you'll see in a few minutes. But when I started looking through the criteria for that group and how we could get points, my heart dropped when I got to the part where it says you can earn 5 points for hosting your own coach sneak peek. I was like, oh, all right, well, I'm not going to let these girls down. Obviously, I'm going to do it. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it Tuesday. I'm just going to do it. I have to do it. I can't not do it. These girls need me to earn 5 points for our team. So obviously I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And that night when I read those criteria, I was like, okay, next Tuesday, 8:00, I created an event and I just threw it out there. I had no plan. I had no idea what I was going to say. I didn't know who I was going to invite. But I just, like a Band-Aid, ripped it off and I threw it out there. And then I figured it out down the line with a lot of help from Melanie. But that was a huge turning point for me. I put that out there in an event. Like I didn't sit and ponder it. Like I said, okay, it's Tuesday. I created the event and boom, it was out. And then I took a few days to figure it out and I just decided to start inviting fearlessly. And you know what freaking happened? People started saying yes and people started being interested. And all of my years of consistently showing my workouts and my journey, they had been watching. And so all of a sudden people were actually saying yes to coaching. And I had a lot of success. I've held a few sneak peeks on my own now, and just being so afraid of taking that step and ripping off the Band-Aid and just doing it totally changed my coaching journey from being a coach to being a CEO and a business mentor. And that switch has been so awesome, so much fun. I love to teach. I love to speak. I love to, help people learn, help people understand. And so to be able to now really have my focus more geared towards helping people grow businesses, like this is my jam. So, my point in telling you all of these things, the no makeup thing, the showing my full body thing, the adding connections thing, the hosting my sneak peek thing, my whole point in telling you all of these stories is that it's really only scary at first. It's only scary the first few times you do it. And even like talking on this call tonight, like I've never done, something like this before. It's always been in my head. It's always been a vision of mine, but I've never really done anything to this level. And my mom, before I started this, she's like, I don't know how you do that. I would be so nervous. And like, it doesn't really faze me. And it doesn't really faze me because I've practiced a lot. I've practiced on smaller groups. I've practiced on, lives on my own pages. And like, sure, the first few times were like terrifying. And I would like shut the laptop and run away and, go hide and hope nobody saw it. But the more you do it, the less scary it feels. And so I want to kind of close with this. I want you to do a couple things for me. I want you to sit in some silence at some point tonight. It can be like 1 minute. And I want you to really reflect on what your fear is right now. because we've all got one. We've all got something. We've got something that we're uncomfortable with, whether it is sharing your authentic self on social media, whether it is being vulnerable and transparent and sharing your full story, you know, whether it is inviting to coaching, whether it's inviting to the challenge group, whether it is committing to your own personal journey. There is something that you're afraid of. And that's just human nature. Okay, that's not a bad thing. But I want you to decide what that thing is. And I want you to do what I did with my coach sneak peek. And I want you to not overthink it, but I want you to rip off that Band-Aid and draw a line in the sand. And I want you to say, this day, I'm going to do this thing. So say, for example, you are someone who is struggling with showing their authentic self to, you know, in their social media. I want you tonight to set a date that you're going to share about that in social media. I don't want you to just put a picture of you with no makeup and then talk about something else. I want you to put a picture of no makeup, and I want you to talk about how hard it was for you to put a picture with no makeup. Or if your thing is you have fear of inviting, I want you to drop in the comments below the date and what you're going to do. So Katie's on this call right now. She is going to, tomorrow, she's going to send 20 invites. Or even better, tonight, she's not going to close her phone until she sends 10 invites. And she's not going to overthink it. She's going to rip off the Band-Aid. She's going to put her head down and she's going to go. And maybe it is hosting your own sneak peek or going live. Maybe it's going live. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe that's your thing that you're nervous of. If it's that, I want you to drop a comment below and I want you to share the copy the link of where you went live and let us go show some love. Go live on your Facebook or go live in your Instagram stories. Whatever it is, if that's your fear, I want you to rip off the Band-Aid and I want you to put a date and I want you to hold yourself accountable. I want you to comment below and I want to know what that fear was that you're going to face, and I want to know when you're going to face it, how you're going to face it, and I want you to comment below so that we can go show you so much love and so much support, and I want you to rinse and repeat, and I want you to do it again, and I want you to do it again until it feels like second nature. If you would have told me 4 years ago that I would post pictures every single day of my larger than average body with no makeup on at all on my social media, I would have told you were freaking crazy. But it has been something I've practiced and that has given me so much freedom. And I want you guys to feel the same way. So really sit in some silence in this, really reflect, journal it out. What is your thing? What is your thing that is holding you back? And I want you to rip the Band-Aid off and I want you to set a date and I want you to do it. And I want you to hold yourself accountable, drop it in the comments below so we can support you and uplift you. And because you know what? The more you practice this, it's going to be like second nature. It's going to be like nothing. So that's kind of my action point for you tonight. I'm very much someone who likes to take action with people. So comment below. Let me know what it is. Let me know if you're related to any of these stories that I told tonight. I hope that you did. I hope that it helped in some small way. I'm so blessed to be able to even share my story in this platform. You know, the beginning of the year, my goal was for Melanie to know my name. And now for her to ask me to speak to you guys is pretty sweet. So thank you so much. If you have listened this long, my God, I am long-winded, you guys. I should have had a cap. Anyways, thank you for listening, and I hope that this has inspired you in some small way. I would love to hear from you. Bye, guys.